You've been performing for so long, you forgot who you were before the applause. You don't need a new identity. You need to come home to the one you abandoned. It's time to change the narrative. It's time to recognize who you are. You are not an imposter. You are not a mistake. You are not a placeholder in your own life. Something happened after the last episode that I simply cannot dismiss, and I want to be honest with you. I was not expecting it. The last episode was the narcissist playbook, gaslight, control, repeat, and it unlocked something. I knew it resonated when the comments started coming in, but then one stopped me completely. A subscriber said, and I am going to read this exactly as they wrote it. They straight up had me thinking I was the narcissist. That comment sat with me. And then more followed, both publicly in the comment section and privately in my inbox, all pointing to the same place. People had been so thoroughly convinced by the narcissist narrative that they had turned the accusation inward and accepted it as truth about themselves. That is not something I can walk past. That is something we have to go deeper on. So here we are. We are going deeper, not because I planned this episode, but because you told me we needed one. And what I want you to have more than anything else are tools, accessible, practical, grounded tools that help you navigate life around a narcissist, because that is exactly what I do. I do not engage them head on. I made that decision a long time ago, and I want to be transparent with you about why. Engaging a narcissist head on is a drain on the one resource they cannot replace, and you cannot afford to waste your emotional energy. They are not capable of rationalization. You cannot reason your way into a resolution with someone whose entire operating system is designed to avoid accountability. So I do not go head to head. I navigate around them, and that navigation, that strategic, intentional, self-preserving navigation is what I depend on without hesitation. There is a moment, and if you have lived it, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you finally say something true out loud. You name what has been happening. You stop minimizing, stop softening, stop shrinking the reality of your experience to make it more comfortable for someone else to hear. And instead of being met with honesty, you are met with rage, deflection, panic, a sudden overwhelming need on their part to discredit everything you just said. And here's what I need you to understand about that moment. Their reaction is not a rebuttal. It is a confession. Their fear is your confirmation. You already know what you just witnessed, that explosion, that shutdown, that desperate pivot to making you the problem is not the response of someone who has been falsely accused. Innocent people do not unravel when confronted with the truth. They do not scramble to rewrite history, recruit allies, or launch a campaign to preemptively discredit your account. People who have nothing to hide do not behave as though everything is at stake. But people whose entire sense of control depends on you not knowing those people panic. And panic in this context is data. We have been conditioned to read their reaction as evidence against ourselves. When they get loud, we assume we went too far. When they go cold, we assume we misread the situation. When they call us crazy, unstable, or too sensitive, we turn inward and begin to audit our own perception for the flaw they are insisting must be there. We have been so thoroughly trained to make their emotional response our responsibility that we have forgotten something fundamental. We are allowed to trust what we know, not what we think we know, not what we almost know, what we know. The narcissist's greatest vulnerability is not their ego, it is exposure. Everything in the playbook we explored in our last episode exists to prevent one thing: the moment you see them clearly. The love bombing, the gaslighting, the control, All of it is infrastructure designed to keep you so busy doubting yourself that you never turn the lens in their direction. So when you finally hold up the mirror and say, I see what this is, the entire system goes into emergency mode. And emergency mode looks a lot like the very behavior that confirmed what you already suspected. Here is something the self-doubt inside of you will try to argue. If you were really right, they would admit it. If the truth were really the truth, they could not deny it so convincingly. I want to dismantle that logic gently but completely. The capacity to deny something with conviction is not proof of innocence. It is a skill, and it is one the narcissist has practiced their entire life. They did not become skilled manipulators by accident. They became skilled manipulators because denial, deflection, and reframing have worked for them repeatedly across every relationship they have ever navigated. Your doubt is not discernment. It is the residue of their training. And yet, even knowing all of this, there is a part of you that still wants them to confirm it. There is a part of you that believes if they would just once say, you are right, I did do that, I am sorry, then and only then would you be free to fully trust what you already know. I understand that impulse with every fiber of my being because it is human. We are wired for relational validation. We want the person who caused the harm to witness it. But here's the painful and liberating truth. Their acknowledgement is not the key that unlocks your healing. You have always been. The fear they show when you get close to the truth is, in fact, the most honest thing they will ever give you. Think about what it takes to make a narcissist afraid. It is not ordinary confrontation. They are skilled at managing that. It is not tears, because tears are a tool they know how to navigate. What genuinely frightens them is your clarity, your stillness. The moment you stop begging for an explanation and simply say with quiet authority, I understand now. That is the moment their system fails. And their failure is not your fault. It is your power. Inside of the imposter phenomenon, we talk often about the ways we are made to feel like frauds, not just in our careers, not just in our accomplishments, but in our own lived experience. The narcissist playbook is one of the most efficient generators of imposter syndrome there is, because it does not just make you doubt your worth, it makes you doubt your reality. And when your reality is in question, everything built on top of it becomes unstable. Your confidence, your decisions, your relationships, your ability to say, this is what happened, without immediately bracing for someone to tell you that you are wrong. That instability did not come from inside of you. It was engineered. Reclaiming your knowing is not a dramatic, cinematic moment. It rarely looks the way we imagine it will. It is not always the confrontation where everything is finally said. Sometimes it is quieter than that. It is the moment you stop explaining yourself. The moment you let the silence after their denial just sit there without rushing in to fill it with apologies. The moment you read an old message and instead of second guessing your memory, simply think, yes, that is exactly what I thought happened. That quiet, steady, unshakable yes, that is the beginning of everything. One of the most disorienting parts of emerging from a relationship with a narcissist is the experience of being right and not knowing what to do with it. We are not always prepared for clarity. We spent so long fighting for it, defending ourselves, being told we were chasing something that did not exist, that when it finally arrives, it can feel almost anticlimactic. But I want to name something important here. There is grief in confirmation. There is grief in finally knowing, without any room left for doubt, that the person you trusted was not who you believed them to be. That grief is real, it is valid, and it deserves space alongside the relief. Their fear is not something to weaponize. It is not an invitation to escalate, to retaliate, or to make them feel what you felt. The goal was never to defeat them. The goal was always to free yourself. And your freedom does not require their participation. It does not require their apology, their remorse, or even their acknowledgement that any of this happened. It requires only this, that you stop outsourcing your reality to the very person who spent years teaching you not to trust it. Step out of the witness box. You are no longer on trial. You never were. So to everyone listening today who has been sitting with something they know but have not yet allowed themselves to fully claim, I want to speak directly to you. You already know. You have known for longer than you want to admit. The doubt you are carrying is not wisdom. It is the last line of their defense. And you have been the one maintaining it on their behalf. Let it go. Trust the version of you that noticed. Trust the version of you that kept quiet record of every inconsistency. Trust the version of you that is listening to this episode right now, nodding, because something in these words is landing in a place where the truth already lives. You are not discovering something new today. You are giving yourself permission to know what you already know. And that permission, that is where everything changes. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin the work of separating who you are from who you've been performing to be, because it's time to stop performing and start belonging. Welcome to the work. Welcome to the becoming. Welcome to unmasking the imposter. Thank you for listening to the Imposter Phenomenon Podcast. If today's episode opened something in you, share it with someone who needs this conversation too. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you're ready to go deeper, get ready to join our community where we're doing the real work of reclaiming identity, rewriting narratives, and rebuilding belonging from the inside out. Remember, you are not an imposter. You are not a mistake. You are the author, and your story is far from finished.